To have you back. If you're just joining us, this is Firecrackers and we're just about to get started. I have with me here in the studio, starting with the gentleman on my left, I have Ben Abraham, founder Zaire Faith and the legal practitioner. Many thanks for being with us on the show.
My pleasure to be here always.
And to his left, we have Comrade Saidu Razak. He is the General Secretary, Association of ANAP. Many thanks for being with us here today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, now let us dive right into the topic we have at hand. Now, the labor leaders are insisting that protest is going to take place on 2nd of August. Well, let us look at how things have always been going on in Nigeria. This is not the first time that NLC is going to be calling for protest. It is not the first time that NLC would even be going on strike. But is that the right call at this moment in time?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think it is the right call because those in governance, they refuse to listen, and when they listen, we reach agreement with them, they don't implement it. So, which means you are taking the labor, organized labor, for granted. And we thought the new government that is coming in will be a listening one, and not the one that will be saying, we shall do this, we shall do that, and nothing done. Don't forget that the now chief of staff now waded into our earlier something, a strike, morning strike, and all the agreement that time, up to now, not implemented. The worst thing we saw was again to increase the fuel that affected the generality of Nigerians. To say that it is market forces. Which market forces? NMPC or what? Who is that? Nobody is answering us. So that is why we say, okay, when we say it's a mass protest, it's workers. They will leave their place of work to be on the streets. Whether you call it protest or you call it strike. But all what we are saying, we were sending signal to the whole world. Because we have seen that no government or government agency is trying to listen to us. And without labor, there is no government. Without labor, there is no employer. Without employer, there is no labor. So we are partners in progress. So it is not for the people in governance alone that will be enjoying. We are so surprised when they were announcing that the fuel withdrawal subsidy is adding on them. They wanted 100% in their allowance. The people that we voted for to go and protect the interests of Nigerians. And they refused to look at how many meetings. They will not come and discuss. And when we've discussed, they will shift it again to call another meeting. So they are playing on our intelligence. Don't forget, we have MNI in our labor leaders. We have graduates. We have people that are sound to analyze issues. So we now say that now, gone are the days when they will take labor for granted. This one from 2nd is going to be total. And we have told them, even the foreign airlines, I'm going to talk seriously about my own area of jurisdiction. We are issuing out our notice tomorrow to foreign airlines, to all aviation users, that is air travelers, aviation employers, private airlines and foreign airlines, that we are sorry, we are part and parcel of the decision of this Nigerian Labour Congress and even the TUC. Because look at a worker that is working, has family, wife, children, and extended families. You don't even talk about one worker. You will be telling me about a worker will get 30,000 naira with all this type of rubbish, and you are receiving far salary and you still want to increase it by 100%, and you don't want to listen to us. To hell with humbleness and patience. We will give the battle to the foe this time around, frankly speaking. We are not joking. You have heard the president. The president was talking on the decision of the National Executive Council, not his own personal decision. So, and I am talking also, I am a member of the National Executive, I'm part and parcel of the decision, my union, and all unions in aviation. And when you see that aviation is in disarray, all of them that have private jets, they will not fly. And Nigeria may be cut off from other countries. So that is why I'm saying that President Tinubu should make sure that he never delegate this type of responsibility to others. If you think that they overthrow in Nigeria, and you can summon, because you are chairman of this, you can summon those people now that I've just seen them live, then you cannot take, handle the issue that will truncate our democracy. You could truncate your own government. Then you are appointing some people that never even care to come to the meeting. I'm sorry. Labour says no this time around. We want President Bola Tinubu for him to, by himself, to meet Labour, because he is an employer. He is the major employer. Then the private sector are just few employers. He is the major employer. He is supposed to create time to talk to the Labour leaders. Failure to do that, I'm sorry. Well, we are ready. They can use security operatives to harass, to arrest. We are ready for all those things.
Okay, all right. We sincerely hope it will not get to that. But let us look at this industrial court order that says that the Nigerian Labour Congress should not go on strike until the matter is resolved in court. So I want to direct this question to the lawyer in the building. What could be the implication of this planned protest by NLC or possible strike in the future with this sitting court order?
Well, the NLC just said, and I just echoed by the comrade here, that it's a protest August the 2nd. That should be on Wednesday.
Yes.
And then perhaps going forward, they will now come together to call a full-blown strike. The order of the court, the industrial court, bars the NLC from going on strike. It didn't say they should not protest. Okay? That strike was the issues that came before the court, because before then they had planned to go on strike, and the federal government quickly went to the National Industrial Court and got an injunction, got an order barring the NLC from embarking on that strike. That order is still subsisting. Of course, the motion on notice has not been had. I don't know the date of the adjournment. I don't have the facts there, but so far, the order barring them is still subsisting. But then, like I said, the order talks about them not going on strike, not them not protesting. The right to protest is part of our constitutional right. The right to express your views, your opinions. We've said that over and over. It's part of our fundamental rights as Nigerians. And no court can stop you from embarking on protest, to express your feelings, to let the world, like he said, know this is what we are going through as a nation. And this is what it could likely lead to. Don't forget one thing, that this issue, we as a people must look at this issue beyond even the NLC. It just happens that the NLC is the vanguard. Of course, they are cooperating and co-opting other groups, CSOs and NGOs to be part of that protest.
Okay, all right. We're saying that this is not just about the NLC.
Yes, it's beyond the NLC. It's just that the NLC happens to be the coordinating agency. And it's very important, I want to stress this, that the government take out time. The other day I heard that the NLC executive had to walk out of the meeting with the federal government. You see, we've been in this country for some time, and we, for example, saw what happened during the NSAS protest. Some of these things should be abated. They should be nipped in the bud as early as possible. The situation is gradually coming where Nigerians could move out spontaneously. And that will be beyond even the security organizations. They will not be able to control some of the effect of this kind of spontaneous reactions. And that's the reason why some of these protests should be really looked at. Protest, like I said, is not something a court can, the right to protest, a court cannot order it, or cannot order you not to protest. That right is ingrained as part of our fundamental rights as Nigerians. And Nigerians, that right has to be respected. So if workers have agreed and decided to go out and protest and call on the attention of Nigerians and the international body to what is happening in Nigeria, that right must be respected, in my view. Okay, and that's something that all of us have to look at going forward. The government has to sit up and look at the issues dispassionately. The truth is, petrol, like I've always said, being the main energy source of Nigerians, it's not something that you should leave to be, as the NNPC boss said, to be driven by market forces, as you said. The issue of subsidy, many have forgotten subsidy is an issue that even the international countries, advanced nations, apply to stabilize the economy. You have agricultural subsidies in the US. You have so many other kinds of subsidies, even in the UK. You have subsidies in the area of housing, and especially the goods that majority of the people depend on. If you leave those things to dangle according to market forces, you're not going to be able to contain the effect. So I will still say it. A lot of people have come to argue that the issue of subsidy, petrol subsidy, in our case as Nigerians, is a few people benefiting from it. But the truth is that that is one product that every Nigerian, the commonest Nigerians, also benefit from. I think the issue should not be looking at the few people from the angle of helplessness. The issue should be, and I say it always, the joke is on the government, really. Because the few people you are saying that are benefiting from it, who are they? Are they faceless people? Can't you go after them, get them? Can't you clean up this oil sector and then bring in things? That is the problem with Nigeria, where there is no accountability, there is no transparency. And because these people, in one way or the other, are connected, they are hand in glove with the government. What the only way out is, man, let's push the subsidy to the people. Let's push the burden to the people. Let's reduce the subsidy. Is that right? I should have thought that we should look at that regime, that oil sector, very well. Now, look at what can be done. Since you don't have your refineries working, all the 8 years of President Buhari, so unfortunately, no refinery was put back to work. We heard of the Dangote refinery that was commissioned by the same president, ex-president Buhari. Today, the Dangote refinery, we hear that it will come on stream in 2025. We hear 2024, and also even at 2027. Which one is the correct date? And meanwhile, this is a refinery that has been commissioned. So, in the absence of a working refinery for Nigerians, I think it's most unconscionable to push the burden onto the masses in the guise of cleaning up a sector which you know the people who have messed it up.
Okay, all right. And I'm feeling like its point of view resonates with yours on the issue of fuel subsidy removal and the hardship that it is causing for the people. Because if you look at the origin of this NLC protest, it is basically on this issue of fuel subsidy removal. Now let us look at some of the demands of the NLC when it comes to minimum wage. The increase that NLC is asking for minimum wage, and we know that Nigeria is a country that is in a lot of debt. And the reason this fuel subsidy was removed in the first place is to be able to save money and redirect it to other sectors that will yield returns for Nigeria. Now, if we are looking at about 200 to 3% increase in minimum wage, do you feel like the federal government will be able to afford that at this time?
Why not? If they can afford to pay the National Assembly, that at the ministers and so on and so forth in government, that fat salary that is over and above what is obtainable in USA and UK, then why not? If you are telling me that this by elites, who are those elites, as my friend has said, they know them. Can't they be arrested? Look at there's one, whether it's Tombolo or those people, detected where they are tapping our crude oil. It was shown who has been arrested and how many barrels of crude oil that they have stolen, and since how many years. So we don't have to be fooling ourselves. The money is there. There are people that they caught with stacking money in their room. What have they done? They don't do anything. They fall back to the workers and milking us. We cannot, you cannot continue like this unless they cut their own by 50% from the president to the House of Rep. We mean it. Because those that are in that National Assembly, they have family. They go home, they complain to them, they saw it by themselves. Then why can't they now show an example? So that we will have confidence in them that yes, they have come to fight for the common people. So now, NSC, TUC, we are vanguard, registered, duly registered. We are vanguard of the working people, of the downtrodden working people. Whether you are farmer, we call it peasants. So if anybody is telling us that NSC, is it not only workers? It's not only workers. Because a worker has mother, father, parents, children, a worker. Then times how many workers we have. So it has expanded to the generality of the nation. So you now talk about court. The court, the judge that gave that judgment, has staff receiving salary. They are not happy. You know, that's why they form their own union. They are not happy. So they are part and parcel of the people we are agitating for. So if a judge pass an obnoxious injunction, we are not duty bound to obey it. Because they, government, they don't obey court injunction. They don't obey court orders. We can be mentioning it, you know, many like that. So if you say, what do you come with clean hand? What is it?
Who comes to equity? It's come with
so you don't obey. You don't now be telling us that because court say we should not go on strike. Why? That is our own fundamental human right. It's our own fundamentally to shout, to demand, right away from the beginning of slavery to serve, slavery to, you know, it is protest from slavery to what? Now we come to capitalism to socialism. Socialism, now we have neocolonialism. They don't even know the economic crunch in the whole world. They are collapsed. They are collapsed. Tell me which country, what is the system are they using in the economy? Because they have assumed, you know, milk African economy, and now Africans are now open. They are open. They want to fight back. So the white people that have enslaved us, they don't know how to cage us again. So they are trying to create division, create crisis anywhere so that they will leave. We said no. Africa now must come together. Nigeria is an example. We want to let them know that we are not stupid. Look at, they caught some Chinese. You saw them, caught some Chinese. Before they caught them, you know how many our mineral resources they have taken away? So why must Nigeria be dumping ground for people to come from overseas and be taking our mineral resources? And some of Nigerians knew, and they were aiding and abetting, and the government knew, security agents knew. They don't arrest one and show an example to deal with one or two or three. That is our problem. This protest, as we said, as the president said, as the National Executive Council of Nigeria Labour Congress said, no industrial union that will not join. I think that, and you know that the easiest, fastest way of traveling for this bourgeoisie that are saying they are in government is by air. They have a private jet. Is it not when you are giving go ahead that before your pilot will fly your private jet? The private jet will not again, because the air traffic controllers will never. The fire cover will never. The aviation security will never. We are passing that directive, and we are passing it tomorrow. But if, that's why I call on the President Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a brother, that he should take this thing by himself. Because you know, when there is school in somewhere, and in someone that, well, why can't he? For how many weeks now? You are delegating the job that you're supposed to share.
Okay, well, let us look at it this way. The federal government, since this new government has been in office, they've been trying to reassure Nigerians that they are not deaf to their plight. You know, the slogan now is "Let the poor breathe." That is what you see a lot of people saying. And since that is coming from the president is also trying to show that he is not blind. He is aware of everything that is going. And perhaps it is because of this that in the national executive meeting that they did, that was last week, they agreed that they would give the poorest of poor, 12 million Nigerians, some certain amount of money via cash transfer. Do you not feel like that is perhaps commendable? Like the federal government is trying to do something to ameliorate the suffering of poor masses?
My friend, we don't believe in that, because the bargaining power of our naira, I'm sorry to say, it's just like during Idi Amin, when the Central Bank of Uganda said the Uganda money is just like toilet paper. I think he said, my money, toilet paper. He removed him and put another person. You see the devaluation of naira, and they cannot control. My friend, you know, they say devalue naira, devalue naira. It is the name you call your child that the people will help you call it. So they were dancing to the tune of the World Bank, the International Monetary something. So that is what is dictating, bringing us to this problem. We don't, 8,000 naira to how many people? What is it going to buy? Look at the price of rice now, bag of rice. Look at the commodity of consumable goods. Look at the price.
So
you are not saying that 8,000 naira to who? Where is our data? Where is the data that you are going to use to define those things to the farmer that has no bank account, to the trader that has no bank account? They go to their market from their from their farm and sell. That is it. The only thing that I think they should address instead of this is to address those issues that will go down will benefit the common people. One, look, electricity, welders, all these artisans, pepper grinders, and so on and so forth, they make use of light, not generator. If light is stable, rather than leaving it in the hands of these exploiters, call themselves Gemco, Disco, and so on and so forth. Take it back from them and let the PHN, waiting, the name before. Come back. Yes, you cannot leave this electricity something into the hands of exploiters. They are inflicting hardship to the common people. That is one. Then two, the farmers that you said you want to go into agric, where is the road leading to those farms that will allow the farmers to bring their loads to the town to come and sell? And the whole roads are just bad. Whereas every month you share money, we hear trillions. Where are you spending it to? To where? That is true, road. Huh? Then you see our hospital. There is one slogan they said that medical something for Lagos. What do they call it? Go and see them. It's not benefiting them. Medical is the thing that they're supposed to address and ban themselves from going overseas for medical treatment. That is three. The fourth one is education. They have bastardized our system, align private university, because they are the one. If you look at the people who own that private university, you know that those are the people that are ruling this country before. You now want to turn education as if it is 10 and 10 pence. You increase tuition fee.
Well, according to the federal government,
all this thing is happening now.
They said that they did not increase the
student will join us. Let me say, let them know. The student will join us because of the increase in.
Well, the federal government, from the presidency, they said that they did not increase tuition. Rather, it is the schools that gave the increase in terms of laboratories.
What the federal government is supposed to do? What the federal government is supposed to do? If they don't increase and if they saw a school that is doing it, do they have power to reorganize or to discipline or to remove or to suspend any rector of that school? They are just abracadabra. The more you look, the less you see. They are deceiving us. They knew, because some of them are members of the co-owners of those universities.
Okay, all right. Now let us go back to the genesis of this problem. You mentioned earlier that yes, of course, NNPCL made it known that the reason we are having this increase in fuel pump price is because of market forces. And some people have said that we cannot completely direct blame to them because it is a private company now. It is not supposed to be operated by the government. They can dictate whatever price they want for the people. You also mentioned the one of PHCN. So I'm going to direct this question to you. Do you feel like perhaps privatization is the problem we are having in Nigeria?
I've said this before. When you use the word privatization, there are key aspects of every economy that the government must retain some form of controlling. This is very, very important. That is why part of the accusation and criticism, experts, labor leaders, and so many people are heaping on this government is that they are pursuing the neoliberal and neo-colonialistic principles of the IMF and the World Bank, wherein they want everything to be deregulated and privatized, so to say, so that prices will be according to supply and demand forces, what they call market forces. And I've said it again, that if that happens the way they want it, the poor cannot breathe, as you have said, and that's the cliche which we hear everywhere. Poor cannot, as it is now, how many of the poor people are breathing? So I will still say there must be a form, there must be some extent of control. NNPCL is now, as it is, limited liability, private to some extent. Government are retaining some shares there. But I've heard the senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, and many others repeatedly say, and they are saying the same in my view, that the NNPCL has no right to fix the price of PMS. Okay, you cannot set that tempo and then all the other measures will follow you. It's still a click in that sense. If you really want the market forces to handle this, then you remove that control you still have. Then let people go import and bring in. And then, of course, they said there are so many people now who have applied to bring in PMS. Part of their cargo is on the way. And of course, you go to bid, you go to get your dollars at the normal rate, which is the rate that is going now in the bank. The I&E window, import and export window, has been closed at the central bank, which leaves it that every importer of any kind of good has to go and apply for dollars at the rates, the normal rates, which is what the banks will give you. That's why every day you see the Naira going down and the dollar getting strengthened. Today it is 800 and something Naira to $1 because of these policies that have just been kickstarted by the new government. So if these importers go with that same amount to bring in the food, that's what he's trying to say is market forces. Of course, I will still say that if we leave it at that, there will be no end to the increase in price of PMS. And why do I say that? Respect to all the economists and the political economists too. Get this, the simple thing you and I learned in economics is that demand will answer. Supply determines, demand is answerable to supply. So if you're going to maintain pricing, how much supply of that product do you have? How do we earn foreign exchange as a nation? That's the first question you ask. For whatever central bank is going to allocate to the banks for importers to bid for is according to the amount that the central bank has, which is accruable to the central bank from whatever we sell to the world. That is simple economics. It's a dollarized global economy. The American dollar is the major international currency for trade. So the more of it you have vis-a-vis your local currency, the more stable your local currency is. The more the supply, the more the people have access to it and use it for their business, then the more stable the Naira becomes. In a situation where today you don't have a particular amount, you have a particular amount available, tomorrow a lesser amount available, the pressure will keep being on the Naira. You don't need to go to get PhD in economics to know this. That is a key question. How much of this international currency do we have, do we generate? With the oil theft still going on, for example, our key product, 90% of our foreign business is from the crude oil. It's more or less a mono product economy. the little other things coming from our agricultural exports, and then even export of some services. But the bulk of it is from the crude oil. And much of the crude oil is being stolen. And then that puts pressure on the amount you can finally sell officially and bring in. And at what cost do you even produce the crude oil? A lot of the majors, a lot of the producers, the majors, have said that the cost of producing a barrel now is higher than before. So at the end of all of this, you are not going to stop. We've not seen the end. I want to tell you that, and that's the truth, except, according to these principles of the policies you are using, except you make room for more dollars to come in, then the pressure on the dollar will reduce, the naira will breathe. If that doesn't happen, which I don't know the magic of how it will happen, get it. A lot of people are beginning to say that between now and December, we're going to see the liter of petrol go for 1,000 naira.
Well, let's hope not.
If you look at it, the way it's going, the way the market is going, what will stop it from coming to pass? Except you do that needful thing, that very simple part of economic decision taking.
You see, I quite agree with him, because what is on ground right now is antagonistic contradiction in governance in this country. We have allowed dictation from external body based on selfish interests. So, and that is why, you see, when there is antagonistic contradiction, it means that when the people that are ruling cannot rule the way they want, and people that are being ruled will not agree the way they are being ruled. That is what is happening right now. We are saying that, yes, if you want to use your force, use your force. We want to use our own force also. To be hard, that we don't want Nigerians to die of hunger.
Okay,
so
but let's
nothing
look
in
at
this
it
world,
this way.
nothing in this world but matters in motion.
2nd of August is so close by. It's just a few hours. We are going to be in 2nd of August. What changes is NLC expecting to see in that short time that will make them call off that protest?
Let them call meeting now. You know, they call meeting, we were there. No, there's no principal officers there. That is why we are saying it has got to the stage that the President Tinubu should by himself be the chairman of that meeting. If he doesn't want this thing to go on the 2nd. Today is what? Sunday. Then there's tomorrow. Then things can still work. If he himself is serious. If he himself didn't listen to, to all the psychopaths. So what is it? He's the head of the real employer in Nigeria.
And we have to also address fear of some part of the masses that perhaps the NLC too could be bought. If they've settled few hands, then everything would just go quiet and no one will be talking anything again about this protest and this harsh economic situation we found ourselves in.
I don't believe that. Maybe before, but not this time around, because we knew that there are changes in leadership of labor, both industrial unions and the Central Labor Organization. There are changes. Most of them, they went to conference and elect new, vibrant people, educated people. You see, people that can reason. I think that. So you don't equate labor to what has been happening in the past. Now it's quite different. The same thing, the government. We thought the government that is on now must have to see more than their nose and take proactive action. Instead, we are seeing the same system that when we give notice, look at medical, they gave notice. Look at the other people, they gave notice. Why is it that it is when they give notice and the notice is about a day, a two, before they will be running up fire brigade, this thing. What do you call that? It means that the government never respects the labor forces. And we say without labor, there is no government. Huh? So, therefore, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should call a meeting, emergency one, by himself to chair it. I'm only very sorry because my colleague Nupenga and Pengason, they have been trying their best. The oil industry, many years ago, that they have been fraud in that place. But what can they do? Most of them are staff. The moment they raise their head, they fire them. The moment they rear their head, they fire them. So that is why NSC and TUC now come up as a vanguard to protect them, then we collectively fight it. That oil industry must be cleaned properly. And other industry, because we have written to him from aviation, we have written to him that he should carry his searchlight into aviation. All right? The same thing other people. Maritime, the same, you know, when you look at all these type of damages that has been inflicted into this country, you have to tell the world that, my friend, my naira is 80 naira per dollar. And if you don't want, bye-bye. You know, that is it now. You don't call, you don't borrow name. You don't borrow name, or you don't allow external force to give your own child name. It is the name you give your child that he will call it for you. Yes, that is it. So we have to dictate and say, my friend, enough is enough. If you are borrowing us money, you are dictating, you are removing all our resources. Removing all our resources, we want unemployment, you want them to come there and be doing slave labor, manual labor to you. No, enough is enough.
Thank you.